I've said it many times before, and I'll probably say it many times again. Harper needs a strong competitor. Could In-Flight 500 be the one? Hello and welcome to a new episode of Review, where we take a trip down memory lane and look at a Boeing 737-800 of Sterling. At the front of the box we have the cutout, so we can get a glimpse of the aircraft model inside, and on the back side of the box we have this lovely graphic where we can see the various options you have for this model. The aircraft was released in various liveries, obviously each with an individual registration code. It should however be worth mentioning that the red livery was the standard livery of the airline, and the dark blue aircraft model was the only one that came with winglets. And here she is, the Boeing 737-800 of Sterling Airlines. The airline has undergone multiple iterations. It has a long tradition in Danish aviation, started off as a mainly charter airline as Sterling Airways, and in its last iteration as Sterling Airlines had become a low-cost carrier. The livery as you see it here and the other special liveries were in use around 2006. The airline ultimately ceased operations in 2008. Now, at the tail of the aircraft we find on the vertical stabilizer the Sterling branding, and on the fuselage we then have the full registration code of the aircraft and the aircraft type specification. Also quite pronounced is the tail strike sensor that we have here at the tail, and we also have a little bit of detailing around the APU exhaust. Across the fuselage we then have the writing of sterlingtickets.com. We also have a lovely amount of small details printed on across the fuselage. The cockpit section is fairly decently detailed. We have some markings around the cockpit windows. The window wipers have been printed on, and the windows, the additional windows that you find above the cockpit windows, have also been printed on. Those windows used to be standard with all 737s. They technically are still there, but have been sealed off in later versions. The engine nacelles have been kept in all red, just as the fuselage of the aircraft, and carries the Sterling branding. But not just that, it also has some lovely additional markings printed on, including the jet blast radius warning. If you look from the backside, I think that looks okay, but if you took a Harper model from the same period, detail wise it would be pretty much the same, except of course that this model has some additional prints. If you look into the engines from the front, we can then see the engine fan blades. Not the best detail here of the aircraft, but definitely also not worse than what Harper did at the time period. Then on the fuselage, just above the wings, we find the emergency exits printed on. That of course leads us straight to the wings, and they are absolutely fantastically detailed, so we definitely have to take a look. If you look here at the top side, we can see all the different flaps, slats and spoilers carved out. Could be maybe pronounced a little bit better, but they are there. Then we of course also have the markings for the emergency exit, and also the markings as to where to walk on the wing. The underside of the wings I think looks fairly decent. It doesn't help with the white livery or white coloring here when it comes to seeing the details, but they are there, trust me. And then of course we have the full registration code of the aircraft once again. My personal highlight, however, is the addition of the landing lights. It's just a simple little print, but it does really a whole lot for the model. Then the main landing gear underneath the wings, I mean, yeah, I've seen it better, but it's definitely also not the worst I've seen, and it's for sure not in any way less than what Harper used to do at the time period this model was released. Now, if you ask me when it was released, I can't say for sure, but it would have been released somewhere between 2005 and 2008. That would be my estimate. And the front landing gear looks really lovely with the additional markings that have been printed on. With Harper, we would only get that with the Harper Club model. And then last but not least, we do also have the doors to the cargo compartments printed on here in the back side of the aircraft and here at the front of the aircraft. So there we have it, the Boeing 737-800 in the standard livery of Sterling Airlines. Now, what can we say about this aircraft model? Well, overall, I say it beats Harper Wings models of the same time period by miles. Not so much by the physical details, they are fairly similar to what Harper did, but the print beats it by miles. I mean, just the fact that if you look at the top of the fuselage, yeah, sure, it's a scale 500 model, so it doesn't have physical antennas, cockpit they've been printed on. And I mean, we can go through this aircraft from top to toe, from rear to front, and you will find loads of small printed details, all stuff that we very rarely get from Herpa-Wings, and if at all, then only with Herpa-Wings Club models. In-Flight 500 could be a very strong competitor to Herpa-Wings if they wanted to, and I would just hope that someone steps in and takes that role, because Herpa really needs someone to push them. Now, I realize, even though it is a highly detailed model, that this is not for everyone. Obviously, as a Danish collector, I had a connection to the airline, but if you like the 737 and just don't care if the aircraft is still in the air, but just want to have a really highly detailed model, then this is definitely one for one's collection. Now, with that, we have reached the end of today's episode. If you have enjoyed this video, then feel free to leave a like. That would be very much appreciated. And of course, if you are new around here, why not hit subscribe? That would be absolutely awesome. With that, I'd like to say thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you soon again. I'm checking out, and bye.